Okay, so today is Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. This is very briefly, at least, a Stronghold Digital Mining update. So today, Stronghold came out with their results. And, while the results themselves are not surprising, right? I mean, look, it was going to be a tough quarter. I think we all kind of knew that, given the fact that the Bitcoin halving took place. The company has sort of been in something of like a maintenance mode, so to speak, right? Pending the fully realized acquisition by Bitfarms. However, we did learn today, right, that both Scrubgrass and Panther Creek will be hosting approximately 10,000 Bitmain T21 Bitcoin mining machines. So 10,000 machines at Scrubgrass, 10,000 machines at Panther Creek. And I really do think that that is a phenomenal next step for both of these mine waste to energy facilities. I'm also incredibly encouraged by what could potentially come next as it relates to fully developing both of these sites, because of course the market didn't really care about this at the time, but Stronghold Digital Mining really did invest quite a bit in its infrastructure, its energy infrastructure. And so we, meaning Stronghold, have just a tremendous amount of flexibility with regard to either selling energy to the grid, importing the energy to mine Bitcoin, potentially expanding operations to include like HPC, high performance computing, potentially, sort of like combining both, right? So you could have HPC and Bitcoin mining. You could have the potential to, yes, have energy that you're generating yourself, but potentially even import additional energy from the grid, thereby really just opening up the doors, right, for both of these facilities, meaning Scrubgrass and Panther Creek, to just grow exponentially in terms of the amount of data center capacity that can be housed at either facility. So I think Bitfarms has an incredible opportunity here, and I have no doubt that Bitfarms is going to really work very diligently to get the very most out of these assets and to see these assets truly be developed into their full potential. Somebody asked me recently, like, hey, Steven, are you crazy enough to somehow try to talk Greg and Matt into, buying a mine waste to energy facility, the proverbial third plant? It's called Northampton Generating. That's the one that kind of fell through the cracks, right? Hey, build up its infrastructure, maybe sell it off then to an established Bitcoin mining company. I don't know. I think I think there's a degree of trauma that I think anybody who would have been involved with this entire process, right, perhaps still has, right? I mean, just think about this. The market kind of said, "Hey, you know what? We like the asset light model." Now that's conceivably changing, given the fact that you're really starting to see. I mean, I saw this, I think, in the Wall Street Journal recently. Don't quote me exactly, but something to the effect of, it's like the United States is running out of electricity, right? There's just so much, well, okay, not literally, but there's so much demand for electricity that, either a lot more capacity has to come online or prices are going to really go up. So, again, the thought of building out a data center at Northampton Generating, which, by the way, that's the footprint of that particular location is relatively small compared to even Panther Creek, which at the time only had about like 33 acres. Of course, now there are all these options to buy more acreage around the facility. Northampton Generating has a relatively small footprint. I don't know that you could necessarily fit a significant data center there, absent maybe, going vertical with it, meaning, hey, it's like a little mini skyscraper or several mini skyscrapers, or conceivably acquiring some additional parcels of land to really make that work. Again, the market, look at I truly do believe, though, that the window, right, for funding is definitely going to start opening up. At least that's my intuitive guess, given where we see the price of Bitcoin, the enthusiasm that's starting to build for Bitcoin. So it would not inherently surprise me right? If there's money out there that's genuinely interested in having itself be allocated, right, towards, vertically integrated Bitcoin mining, which could conceivably take the form of a mine waste to energy facility that I think is definitely for sale, or at least my impression is that Northampton Generating is more likely than not open to offers, or at least the entity that owns Northampton Generating is open to offers, right? So, yeah, we'll see what happens, right? I do definitely have some very interesting thoughts and plans that I'm attempting to clarify with regard to a new dashboard, as I shared previously, and with regard to what direction I want the channel to take. But I can pretty much, sort of like dispel any concerns that this is going to shift to, talking about baking, although I do enjoy baking bread and other things, or to talk about some other random topic. No, it's going to be very Bitcoin centric. It's going to be very financial market centric. And it could even conceivably kind of really try to focus in even more on this idea of like, what does it mean to live in a Bitcoin world, right? Where when we look at things, we're looking at it through the lens of what is this priced in Bitcoin, right? That's a very sort of foreign concept, right? Because, for a lot of us, right, you look at the price of Bitcoin, it's like, hey, is it going up? Is it going down? And how does that, is my wealth increasing or decreasing, right, based on Bitcoin priced in US dollars? But what if we started thinking about a world in which we look at things priced in Bitcoin? I don't know. It's a very it's definitely something that occurs in commerce, right? If I'm going to sell a widget of some kind and I want to price it in Bitcoin, well, I'm pricing it in Bitcoin. There's no need to translate that into any other currency because the price is in Bitcoin. And again, I'm sort of like grasping here a little bit for the direction that I want to take things in. But I know I personally have always had a very, very deep interest in looking at the world a little bit more closely through the lens of, pricing things in Bitcoin. So anyway, I'm just sharing this thought out loud. I mean, again, it's a work in progress. All of this is a work in progress. Okay, my friend. Hey, I did hear from a number of you that you still own shares of Stronghold Digital Mining, right? Pending the acquisition by Bitfarms. I think that's phenomenal. As I said, I had to take chips off the table, right? I mean, I just had to, right? I was so heavily loaded up in STIG that I just had to kind of take some off the table. But with all of that said, I am also very, shall I say, open-minded to potentially reallocating some of that into Bitfarms directly, depending on how we see things play out with the financial markets, the price of Bitcoin. Because as you've noticed today, I think Stronghold's down like, 14%. I think Bitfarms is down like 10% or so. Most of the companies in the publicly traded, Bitcoin mining ecosystem are down today. There are going to be some interesting entry points, I believe, that could potentially materialize in the next several months. Okay, because let's keep it real. We still live in a material world, right? We don't live in cyberspace, so to speak. And it's a very dangerous and uncertain world in which we live in. And as you may recall, in early August, financial markets really took a beating, right? There was kind of like something of a flash crash of sorts, right? As a carry trade found itself unwinding. And the collateral damage of that carry trade, as it related to like the Japanese market, I don't want to get into it in too much detail, but basically, yeah, markets really got pummeled. So we're like, you and I are no strangers to volatility insofar as the stocks that we own, especially if it's a Stronghold Digital Mining or anything in the publicly traded Bitcoin mining ecosystem. But I do believe that there could very well be some systemic shocks that we need to kind of weather, and that may prove to be an interesting entry point for not just shares of Bitfarms, but really shares of really any publicly traded Bitcoin mining company. So, I'm keeping my eyes open. Okay, my friend, let's stay positive, let's be great, and we will see each other again tomorrow.